Hi, my name is James Orvis, and in this video we're going to take a look at step sequences. Most of you are probably familiar with using piano rolls. That is kind of a step sequencer in my eyes, with obviously added features compared to older units. It's worth noting in older units you couldn't quantize the actual scale, which you can do with like Ableton plugins, for instance, where you can change the MIDI note scales. Also, a lot of new software synthesizers now come with scaling options and quantize options. So yeah, let's get stuck in. I'm going to show you one of like a really basic sequencer, which is the one that's on the 303. One of my favorite sequencers. It's really simple, but it's so fun to use. Like the slide is great on it, and I'm just going to take you through it and show you how to program program a sequence on there, and then we're going to move on to Hive 2 by UHE. Diva, and we're going to look at how we can use modulation options as well. So the first one we're going to look at is this, which is the baseline 3 by Audiorealism, which is a 303 copy. And as you can see here on the front, you've got like a keyboard layout, which is how you select the notes. So you select the notes by clicking on these little keys here. And when you click on one of them, it gets inputted into this bank here. So you've got 16 steps in this, and as you flick through you can set the key for each one. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm just going to play it and I'll just randomly put in notes until we get something that kind of sounds okay. So let's start. That'll kind of do for now. It's not the best sequence, but what I like about this is you can keep flicking through and just trying out different notes. It's a really intuitive way of doing it. Obviously, it takes a little bit longer than playing around with the piano roll in Ableton or Logic, for instance. But it's good fun to play around with. Next, I'm going to show you how to start inputting some of these options here. So here we've got down, which means that the note will be an octave down, and then you've got up, which means it'll be an octave up from the original note. And then we've also got accent, which can be accessed with this knob here. So you can, some of the notes can be louder than others, and you can select which notes by clicking accent. And then slide, which is obviously the favorite of the 303. With this one, you can slide between notes, and that's how you get that really nice kind of squelchy gliding acid sound. So let's go through, and again I'm just going to play it and we're going to start to dial these in randomly. So just keep an eye on what I'm doing. You can see here which step I'm going to, and then you can see which notes I'm trying out and adding these different options. So I'll press play and we'll have a quick go at doing this. So we got there in the end. At first, I was starting to think that we wouldn't get anywhere with that, but by the end, it sounded okay. And obviously, you can turn any simple kind of sequence into something that has got a lot of movement and groove by using the slides and the accents as well. I think that works really well. So there's the first example, and next we're going to switch this off, and we're going to move on to the Hive plugin. And the reason why I'm using this one is because it's kind of similar to an old style sequencer, but we're going to also move on to the modulation settings as well. So there's only one modulator on here, but it should be enough to give you an example of what you can do with a modulation sequencer as well. So let's quickly explain what's going on here. So if I press a note, it'll start the sequence. And what's going on here is that you've got gate, transpose, velocity, and the modulation section there. You can change the number of steps here. So if you bring this down, let's just go to like 4. It'll only do these ones. So you can change the length of the sequence. And then we've also got gate on the right hand side, so you can shorten them. Or you can open up the notes. And this middle section with the gate, this is to turn the notes on and off. So we can go ahead and turn some of them off. That sounded alright, so let's go ahead with that. Turn some of these off. And then what else you can do is the one underneath, the transpose. You can change the transposition of the notes. So you can go all the way up to 24 and all the way down to 24. It's 2 octaves down, 2 octaves up. And let's go ahead again and start to just kind of dial in some notes on this one. Let's turn this one up to an octave. Maybe this one as well. Try this. Nope. I'll do. And then, so now we've got like a pattern using the gate and the transposition. We're going to look at the velocity. So in this patch here, which is a patch that is in the Haze pack, which is the Audiotent pack, we're using this bass patch here called Volcano as the starting point, and this patch has velocity set up. So when you change the velocity, it opens up the filter. So what we're going to do is we're going to play around with the velocity and change the filter settings as well as the volume. So yep, that'll do. That's quite nice where we've got it there. So now we've inputted the velocity settings for each of the 16 steps. We're going to move on to the mod section. So the mod section can be set up by going into the matrix at the bottom. So this section allows you to use the mod matrix to patch in modulation, so you can send different modulators to different targets. So for example, here we're using the sequencer mod, which can be selected there, and we're going to send that to, let's go for resonance actually. So on the filter resonance, and let's start to dial that in. So this is the amount that you want to add in. So we'll turn it up all the way for now, and then we'll start to dial in these modulation parameters here. So let's just go ahead and see if it works on one of them. Yeah, that works. Let's go ahead and put some others in. So it's just kind of trial and error with this stuff. You keep playing around with it to get something that you like. And with this one, even though we've only got one modulator, you can add another destination in there as well. So just by grabbing this and selecting any of these parameters, you can modulate them. I don't actually know where to go with this one now. Let's have a quick look. What else have we got? Maybe we can do like the decay or something on maybe one of this. Let's just see what this is doing first. Yeah, let's try that. So if we bring that right down and then add it in here. And actually, I've just thought even though we can only use 2 here, you can set it up again. So you can go sequencer mod and you can drag it in again to something else. So let's have a little play around and see what other parameters we've got that we can play around with. All right, so what we'll do is we'll send this to the filter again, and then it gives us some control to kind of open up the filter a little bit on here, but only for those ones that are got input on the modulation. Yeah, that kind of works. Gives you a little extra control here to open up that filter. So you can really experiment with that and kind of send this to different routings and try out what works. And what I like about using this kind of sequence is you get some, like the 303, you get really nice kind of grooves and rhythms from it that you wouldn't normally get by using a piano roll. So next we're going to just look at the piano roll, and we can look at the similarities of this with a step sequencer, because I kind of see the piano roll as a step sequence sometimes, in the respect that you've got these steps which you can change the length of a lot easier than using traditional ones. So we can use Command and 1 and 2 if you're on Apple, and we can make them longer or shorter, which is a lot easier to input data. And also you don't have to flick through the steps like on the 303, you can just pop stuff in using the draw pen tool. And again, we can do the modulation stuff. So by going in to the synth that you've got, on this example we've got the Diva set up, and if you go on this bit here and bring up the configuration button, you can click on stuff. So let's say the cutoff and the resonance, and we'll also go with the waveform as well, and then come off that. You can then use this to modulate stuff. So got frequency there, and we can go in and put different data points of where we want the filter to be on different notes. Go to resonance, could do the same again there. So for me, that is kind of like a step sequencer, but a really, really easy and quick step sequencer. to use. But like I said, you do have some benefits using these old style ones. I just feel like you get something different from them than you would if you was using the piano roll. So there was a quick overview of using sequencers and a couple of different types, and how to get to grips with using sequencers to modulate stuff as well. Next, I'd like to know, do you guys use sequencers often when creating music, or do you tend to just use the piano roll? Let us know in the comment section below what your favourite hardware sequencers are, what your favourite software sequencers are. And if you're just getting into sequencers after watching this video, please let us know. That'd be awesome. Thank you for watching. My name's James Orvis, and I will catch you next time.